Jonathan, and the fast answer is no. There is not enough workforce in the area. If we really want to become, the hub of cyber in the U.S., there's a great pool of trained military coming out of Cyber Command and things like that have gone through extensive training, doing some great work. Get them acclimated into the private community. There's a significant difference between the military side and the private industry. And my organizations, we don't do any military or government, it's strictly private. But to bring a lot of the new staff, what I call new blood, into place, we really need, and Rodney brought it up just a minute ago, we need to start early. What used to be industrial arts in the high schools and things like that, we need to bring the technical side of that into play. Work that into the colleges. Our typical entry point is bachelor's in engineering and at least 5 and hopefully 10 years of experience along with CISSP and CEH. For your listeners, CEH is Certified Ethical Hacker, the white hat folks, to really be able to work with that. And I really like a business side of that as well. The worst thing you can do is go in and talk to the senior management of the company and they're all techies. There's a huge gap in the understanding there. So we want to be able to relate to the business side as well.
Yep, I agree with Jeff with that. One of the best models I've seen in other places I've been at is starting early. Our counterparts overseas in Israel and China and Russia, these kids have been coding since kindergarten. And we're trying to get folks up to speed once they get to college here. So there's no doubt that we have we're behind the curve a little bit on that. So the school districts, all of them, need to get involved in putting those kind of programs in place, and we can actually get kids certified in actual IT disciplines in high school. They don't have to be over 18 to get a lot of those certs. And then they can be viable and decide if that's the career path they want to take once they get out of high school. They can already get an actual job, making some money and helping keep our community safe from cyber tech.
Jonathan, do you mind if I interject a thought? And Amy, you're up next here, but I just wanted to share that KRDO has been doing some coverage of the Thrive program in the southeast part of town. Rodney, you might be familiar with that, with our friend Taj Stokes, Felicia Barbara from the Pikes Peak Workforce Center. And there is an extension of that called RISE, and those guys are going into Sierra High School, and they are grabbing those seniors there and teaching them how to code.
I think they're correct. You have to start young, but you also have university programs that are certified at UCCS. You have an asset at the Air Force Academy with their CyberWorks program, and with the NCC, there's been a lot of focus on getting people trained, so and fixing that gap in job skills. So I think we're headed the right way. It's just going to take some time to get there.
No, thank you for that, and agree again. That I think while we are very optimistic, and I think we have a bright future. Again, I think it's good that we're having these conversations from a community perspective around how do we create this workforce, how do we pull that talent here to really make sure that we're providing some good services to not only our community, but hopefully at some point to the nation. Jeff, to your point. So switching gears just a little bit, I want to talk about some of the things that you're seeing here locally. I mean, obviously on this radio segment, in terms of the folks that we're broadcasting to, they might want to know, and maybe not in some cases, because there's probably some spooky things that are going on out there. But and as we know here, the Better Business Bureau, many small businesses are not working with the protection and security that they need to be competitive in their industry and to protect their customer information. So let's talk about some recent cyber attacks that have happened here in Colorado Springs, and what are some tips and resources that they can use for these small, medium-sized business owners. What should these business owners know about being aware of, and what can they do about it?
Great point, Jonathan. And this is a topic that, I say we beat the drum constantly on with owners, with the employees of the companies. And it's really training these days. You can put great amounts of hardware and software in place to try to protect it, and it's table stakes, as I say. It does a great job, but the real gaps right now are with the staff. Training them, I constantly talk about, think before you click. It's a great line that came out of Symantec in one of their training, and it's to really drive that point home with the staff to really think about the phishing emails. we see it both locally and nationally at this point, where it's virtually 100% of the breaches that occur are through very, very well-crafted phishing emails. And it opens up, typically today there are various versions of ransomware or emails where, the financial officer gets an email from the CEO and saying the project's ready, let's transfer the money to the bank account. Luckily, we say pick up the phone, ask, and they've stopped some pretty significant transfers. But that's the majority of it.
Yeah. So one of the services my company provides is free cybersecurity analyses for businesses, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that I've seen out in Colorado Springs with some of these businesses. Let's see, had a tax firm that, those kind of businesses, they traffic in people's personal information. And for them to not be secure not only hurts them, but all the people whose information they have on their systems. So the password to all the computers on this particular company's systems was tax123. And they hadn't changed it in years. And they had people leave and come, and they still hadn't changed those passwords. Another one I saw was a medical practice, had about 6 machines in there. The reception computer had ransomware a week before I came on site to do the inspection. And he said some guy came by and checked the system out. There was no antivirus on it. There were still pop-ups and stuff going on. I'm like, sir, you probably still breached right now. I was like, is this on the same network as all the rest of the computers that have all your company data and your patient data on? He's like, yep. I'm like, okay. So I give him the contract, and he spoke it over with some folks, and they decided not to do anything about it, just to leave it. And I think the tendency to some of the business owners is to, if it's still working, they're okay with it. And that's not okay. You should definitely get those things checked out, because people can be sitting inside your systems and you not even know it. The ransomware is obvious, somebody's in your machine. But there's other ways that aren't as obvious that you need to catch before they become problems.
One of the things the Business Journal is partnering with the National Cybersecurity Center on is a training seminar August 10th. Rodney's firm is sponsoring it with us as well. It's going to be a 3-hour training specifically geared to small business owners to show sort of hands-on what can happen on the dark net, how a socially engineered attack works, and how those phishing emails can be so tricky to catch. So that is at Catalyst Campus, August 10th. Starts at 7:30. We're going to feed you breakfast, and you can go to the Cybersecurity Center's website to find out more.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and thanks for the information and making us a little bit more aware of what's going on, and specifically some of the things that are happening in these small and medium-sized businesses. So good for everybody to know, from just customers as well as to business owners. So thank you again for being here. This is obviously a hot topic. We'll probably hear from you guys again here in the not-too-distant future. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you for leading a wonderful part of this discussion. Always very valuable, very important information. Amy Gillentine and Sweet, editor and COO, Colorado Springs Business Journal. Mr. Jeff Beauprez, Senior Fellow, National Cyber Exchange and owner of Colorado Networks and Eventix. Mr. Jonathan Liebert, COO and Executive Director of the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado. Last and certainly not least, the tallest man in the room, Mr. Rodney Gullatte, who is the owner of Firma IT and a recent awardee of Best Business in Colorado Springs. Congratulations to you. Thank you one and all for being here and contributing. It's time for a quick break. Up next, a couple messages from Business Hour sponsors. Then, the National Cybersecurity National Cyber Exchange Weekly Cyber Brief. This is the Business Hour on KRDO News Radio. We'll be right back.